100% class. My name is Aurora with Supercharged Math, and we are going to dive into a practical application of math. And so what we're excited about doing is we actually are, let's see if I've got everything I need. Wait, I'm missing one thing. Nope, it's here. Sorry about that. False alarm. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is a practical application of percent. And you might be thinking, hey, we haven't done that much in percent yet. Why are we doing practical applications? Because this will help make sense of percents because you're already familiar with decimals and fractions. And so I'm just going to assume you're good with that. So what are we going to do today? We are going to, how old are you right now? Can you put it in the chat? All right, so tell me your age in the chat. I'll read a few of them out. And then we got 11, 15, 9, 12, 10, 14, 11, 12, 13, a couple of 13s. Maybe we got some twins in here. Excellent, beautiful. All right, so, so you already have experience with fractions. You already know decimals. And now we're going to move on to percent. And I have real numbers from someone who's 25. So I'm going to make you all 25 years old right now. Ready? Magic wand. Whoosh. All right, you are now 25 years old. You have gone to college. You got your college degree, and you do have a student loan. It's not too crazy, but you do have one. And you are living on your own. You're not married, and you don't have kids. Okay, you got a pretty good job. You are making, now the number I'm going to use is a number just to get us started. Okay, so whatever you make, start earning is going to depend on where you live and what industry you're in. And we go more into that in our financial literacy class. But in order to start this conversation, I have to give you a number. Okay, so for you, you are making, how much do you think you're making at 25 years old? Can you give me a number? Put it in the chat right now. How much do you think? College degree, you're single, not married, okay, and you've got what kind of degree? That's a good question. Let's say you've got an engineering degree. Okay, maybe it's in IT, or it could be a mechanical engineer, maybe you're aerospace, one of those types of fields. Okay, so people are saying $87 a day. Okay, so how much a day do you think you're going to make? How much a day? Okay, and now multiply that number by 30. So now how much a month? How much a month do you think you'll be making? $200 a month? Are you sure? You got to be able to buy food and pay for things, clothing, gas for your car. Got to pay for your car. There we go. Now, now we're getting some silly numbers. $1 million. Probably not a mechanical engineer. Okay. All right. So again, it's going to depend on where you live. I'm going to give you a number. This number is actually a real number from a real 25-year-old, and he let me use. We actually did this exercise together. Okay. So this student, I want you to write it on top, or he's no longer a student, is earning $6,000 a month. You tell me, does that feel like a lot of money? Doesn't it just feel like, whoa, and next month you get another 6,000, and the next month you get another 6,000 as long as you're working? Yeah, okay, so the challenge here is it a lot of money? What if he is spending $5,999 a month? Is there going to be a problem? Maybe. Do you think he's a little stressed if he's spending everything he earns? 2/3 of Americans spend as much as they earn or can't tell you how much they are spending every month, but it feels like they're spending everything. 2 out of 3 people. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so what are we going to do? We are going to figure out how much this person is spending. Yeah, it doesn't feel like you even have to keep track, right? Because you're just rolling in it. Okay, let's find out. So that's what our diagram is here for. So let's walk through it step by step. So he's making $6,000 a month. Okay, so he is going to put 10% in savings, 10% in his giving account, right off the top. So how do we do that? So you're going to grab your calculator. So what we're going to do is we are going to say 10% of 6,000 is how much? That's what we want to know. Okay, so 10%, we had talked about this last time, 10% is what you do is you take the number in front of the percent sign and put it over 100. That's how you turn a percent into a fraction. Really easy. So if this was 15%, it'd be 15 over 100. If it was 90%, it'd be 90 over 100. So for 10%, it's 10 over 100. Of is multiply. And then this is a number, so you just drop it down. Okay, I'm going to ignore the dollar sign. Well, I can bring the dollar sign in because it's money we're talking about. Okay, so grab your calculator. Do your calculation with me. 10 divided by 100. You probably knew that was a tenth. times 6,000. So he is putting $600 every month into his savings. Okay, so he doesn't have 6,000 anymore. He's got 6,000 minus 600. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a highlighter. And this is 10 squares across, 10 squares down. 10 times 10 is 100. So this whole grid represents $6,000. So out of that, 10% would be the first row, 10%. And that's going to go into his savings. Okay. This is the same information. This starts here at 0, goes all the way around. There's 100 tick marks. And there's also, in every 10 is tick marks is 1/10. Okay, because there's 10 slices of 10 tick marks to make a whole. So it's just a different way of representing the same information. So that goes into his savings. So if this whole thing is $6,000, this slice of the pie goes into his savings. Okay, give me a smile so I know you're tracking with me. You're doing okay? You're doing okay. Good, good, good. Now, if he's going to put 10% of 6,000 into giving, he already made this, this was already something he had set up. How much is he going to put in? Because it's the same percent, do you see how it's going to be the same calculation? So you don't have to do it again. You can just say 10% of 6,000 is 600. And that's going to be in giving. Okay, so let's see how much that is. So for giving, okay, we're going to color in another row of 10. Okay, somebody's asking, how is this representing 10%? There are 10 rows, so 10 rows of 10 is 100%. So this whole thing is the entire 6,000. So 10% is just one row of 10. So this is giving. Okay, and giving, this could be anything from if you want to donate the money to charity, if you want to give it to a church, if you want to put it towards a scholarship for another student to go to school, if you want to buy Christmas presents or holiday presents or birthday presents for people, it all comes out of your giving. So that's what giving is for. Okay, so if you want to take your friends out for pizza, that is giving. If you want to donate to your library fund, it comes out of giving. So every month he has $600 going into his giving, his little coffee can with for giving. And so he has different things he can do. The thing with giving, which we talk about in our personal finances, is that at the end of every year, you have to empty it out. You have to make sure that you do that. After 10 months, how much money is he going to have in giving? You tell me, is that a lot? It adds up, doesn't it? So what could you do with $6,000? You want to know what one of my kids did? So while they were in college, my kids also did this. They're not making $6,000 when they're a student in college, but they had little giving buckets. And so they were able to sponsor another student going to the same university as them. They set up a scholarship fund to give to another student. They never met that student. They just had a scholarship fund set up. Money makes things happen. And so when you have some, you can make opportunities that weren't there before. So that's one of the reasons that we encourage giving. All right, but this is part of our financial literacy thing. Like, how do we do savings, givings, how to set that up? Just know that we have 10% for savings, 10% for giving right off the top before we pay our bills. Okay. So what else did he have? He had rent. All right, how much is he paying in rent? He said his rent was $1,800 a month. Everyone go like this. Ouch. All right. What percent is rent? Okay, so now this is different, right? Because I don't have a percent number. So what we do is we say 1,800 out of 6,000. If he was paying $6,000 for rent, it'd be 6,000 over 6,000. That'd be 100% of his income, right? So we don't want that. So this is how you figure it out. So he's paying 1,800 out of 6,000. 6,000 is the whole. That's this whole thing here, or this whole thing here. Okay, 1,800 of it. So grab your calculator, do it with me. 1,800 divided by 6,000. Okay, so we have 0.3. To make that into a percent, you multiply by 100. So we get 30%. Okay, so 30 out of 100. 30% rent. Now, by the way, General rule of thumb, you don't want to spend a quarter to a third of your, or less. Usually we recommend a quarter of your income should be housing. So he's already a little bit too much there, isn't he? Okay, so 30%, that's okay. So no judgment. We need to know where he is on the map before we can make improvements. Okay, so the rent is $1,800. That was 30%. So we're going to do 3 blocks by 10. So 3 rows of 10. So you color yours in, I'll color mine. And it's okay if you don't have fancy colors like mine. You can pencil it in. Just put borders around it so you know which one goes where. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and so this one is going to be rent. Some of you are already looking really worried. We haven't even gotten to food yet. Okay. You think a 25-year-old guy eats a lot? Oh, yeah. All right, so this is rent. And this includes utilities. Good question. So trash and electricity and all of that is included. Okay, this is the first time we've done this calculation, so we're going to keep it simple. He did have a student loan. His student loan was, let me look it up. See, he said it was $600. Can anyone tell me what percent this would be? Did we already do this calculation? Yeah, exactly. I see it. 10%. Beautiful. 10%. Okay, because this number, the math has to match, right? So 600. If you didn't know that, you'd take 600 and divide it by 6,000. That would give you 10%. Color it in. Color it in. We've got a loan. 10% is going to be this one. Okay, one more pie. Okay, so student loan. Has he spent more than half his income right now? Uh-huh. Well, in some ways, right? He's saving and he's also giving this away, right? So this is what's going out the door. Okay, good. Car. Does he have a car? Of course he has a car. His car cost him $900 a month. That's the payment on the car, the gas, the insurance, the registration spread out over 12 months. Any maintenance averages $900. Yes, these are real numbers. Good question. How much is $900? In terms of percent, you're going to take 900 and divide it by 6,000. Those of you who like mental math, can you see any similar calculation? 900 is half of 18, which means this is going to be, now if you don't see it, that's okay. Just take 900 and divide it by 6,000 and multiply it by 100 to get it into a percent form. Oh, sorry, there you go, 15%. Good, because the numerator is half of this one, so the result's going to be half. All right, 15%. Can you do that? What color should we make the car? About green. Okay, car, 15%. That's going to be one whole stripe plus that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. All right, so that's the car. You're right, we haven't done food yet. So a couple of you wrote in and said, I'm so worried right now. It's okay, it's okay. Breathe, breathe. I'm sharing this with you as an example, well, real life example. So once we map out where we are, then we can make changes to make it better, okay? All right, so there's our car. Food. How many people think the rest should just be food? Okay, so he tallied up his food receipts. He had to keep track for me. It was, what did he spend? $720 on food. All right, again, depending on where you live in the country, this number is going to be different. He was in the city in California. California is expensive. We pay for our sunshine. And he's living in one of the most expensive cities. And he's single, which means he's going out to restaurants a lot. Okay, so that explains that number. So this may be different depending on where you live. Okay, so he was $720 divided by 6,000. Who can give me a percent for that one? 720 divided by 6,000 times 100. You get about 12%? 12%. Good, excellent. Yes, thank you, Graham. 12%. Okay, let's see here. How about, what color are we going to do now? Purple, maybe? Okay, let's do purple. All right, 12%. So it's going to be the whole bottom plus that. So I'm going to say it's going to be 10, 11, 12. Okay, this is all going to be food. This is a dark color, so I won't do it completely, just so you can read food. I don't know if you can read that. That's supposed to say food. Here, I'll put it on the outside. There you go. Okay. Internet. How much does it cost you to have a cell phone? Those of you who have a cell phone or know someone who has a cell phone, how much a month would you say it costs them? Okay, it depends on their plan. 25-year-old is paying for his own plan. So what do you think? How much does it cost a month? Oh no, I've got people that are worried. Oh, okay. Actually, I think you guys have got it. So, so not buying a phone, but keeping the phone connected so you can use it. Okay, and so if you bought the phone and you're using it for 2 years, then you could spread that over 2 years as well, because phones are not cheap. Okay, so he also has to pay for his own internet. That wasn't included with his rent. So he put his number at $150 a month is what it costs him to internet, phone, and I think he also said Netflix. So 150 divided by 6,000. What do you guys get for a percent? 150 divided by 6,000. 150 divided by 6,000 times 100, 2.5%. Is that what you got? Okay, so let's bump it up. So it's 3. Okay, so we're going to say it's about 3. So 3%. Oh, I forgot to write food. It was 12%. Thank you. All right, $150. So 3%. So that's going to be like 1, 2, 3. That's this right here. 1, 2, 3. So that's phone and internet. I'll just put phone so you know what that means. Now, do you think he was spending any money on concert tickets, on maybe buying clothing or fun stuff for himself? And maybe he was actually into gadgets, so latest electronics. You think he was doing fun stuff? Yeah, so if you don't budget for fun stuff, we call this our play account. Just like we had a savings, where is it? Savings and a giving, we also have a play. The problem is his fun stuff, his play was mixed up with his regular bills. And so he was never sure, like, can I spend this? I'm not sure. And he'd get that pit feeling in the bottom of his stomach because he's like, I'm not really sure. Can I get that snack for $20 or am I already at my limit? I don't know. So I'm going to share with you a way that we can do this without feeling worried. How many people are already worried? Right? Okay. So, and this doesn't even have his fun stuff. So, okay. So his fun stuff was $300 and where was it? Oh no, $450 a month. Everyone go like this. Oof. Okay. So 450, last calculation, 450 over 6,000. What do you get for percent for that one? 450 divided by 6,000 times 100, 7.5%. Is that cutting it a little close? If this was you, if these were your finances, how many of you would have trouble sleeping at night? Yeah, so let's just bump it up to 8 so it's easier. 8. Okay, so where is he now on this? So 8 would be about here. Sorry, I know they're both yellow, but hopefully you can see they're a little bit different yellow. So how much of his income does he have as a buffer? And by buffer, we mean, can he handle things like, what if the fridge breaks? Well, if he's renting, then the landlord's going to take care of it. But what if his car needs maintenance, right? Or he needs a new set of tires? Okay, so this is, what was this? Fun stuff. So this is fun. Can he afford? No, he can't. How much money did he spend? 98% of his income. This is what he has left. He has 2%. That's $120. How many people are feeling real nervous right now? You should be. So what happens if his fun stuff went up and over? Okay, that's called going into debt, and that's definitely not what we do not want. You guys are all debt-free right now, by the way, because you're all kids. All right, so shake it out, shake it out. The reason we do this is because we want to make it so it's hard to fix a problem if you can't define the problem. So we're defining where he is on the map. All right, you guys are now my financial analysts. All right, so what do? We're going to make this even better. So what we want to do, eek, I know. I forget the statistic. I think it's 75 or 80% of Americans cannot handle a $1,000 emergency that comes up. And do you see why? Because most Americans are doing this. Because they have this left, or maybe they don't, and they're running up credit card debt. And they don't know. They don't know, like, can I afford to do this? I think so. I'm making $6,000 a month. You know, spending $120, taking my friends out to lunch, that should be fine, right? Yeek. All right, so you don't know if you don't track. Only 1 out of 10 people track their expenses every month. So 9 out of 10 people can't even do this. Isn't that crazy? So you all need to be in my financial class next year when you're ready for it. Okay, so you have to complete your percent class in order to do that. But this is a quick little snippet. So financial analysts. All right, so shake it out. We did the same thing with him. When we got to this part, his eyeballs were as big as dinner plates, and he's like, whoa. Part of his fun stuff had a gym membership in it. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now, that he wasn't really using a whole lot. Okay, so how are we going to make this bigger? What is the biggest piggy on here? What is the biggest yeah, the blue one, right? What is that? Rent. He was renting an apartment by himself. How many of you would not object to a roommate? Yeah. Okay, roommates can be fun, especially if it's somebody you like. So imagine it's a fun roommate. What do? They share half of the expenses. That's right. So what does this number drop to? Where's the rent? There it is. What does this number drop to if you share half? Immediately, this goes down to $900. Ooh, that's faint. Can you see that? $900. Ooh, all right. So that's going to go down to $900. All right, fantastic. He's 25. He lives in a city where parking is expensive, and he's not using his gym membership. What would you recommend about the car? Everything is in walking distance, easy. If not, he's got we call it's 2 wheels, you pedal it. What's it called? A bike. He's like, you know what? I'm not using the gym membership anyway. This will keep me in better shape. And by the way, my 23-year-old son did the same thing. This is his first year having a car. He got a bike. And he's like, you know what? I'm staying fit. I'm staying healthy. And you know what? Cars are expensive. And yes, they are. Sometimes you need a car, and that's fine. He decided, this individual said, you know what? I don't need a car. Or I can buy a used car from my savings and share it with my roommate so I don't have those monthly car payment expenses. And that's something he talked about doing later. All right, so how many of you are already seeing a big difference here? We just saved $900 plus $900. We're already saving $800. I'm sorry, $1,800. That's huge. Okay, fun stuff. This is what we call our play. And so we're going to take a little quick break here and go on to a new, can you give me a new sheet of paper? Can you do this for me? Okay, I'm going to move myself so we can draw on everything right now. New sheet of paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our, this is our savings, this is our giving, this is our play, and this is our life. This is our daily living expenses. Every dollar that comes in is going to be allocated before you ever spend it. This is one of the top secrets of all time. See, a lot of people think the secret to having a lot of money is having a really high-paying job. But if you're spending 98% of that, you're not, it's not how much you earn, not how big this dollar amount is up here. It's how you manage what you have. All right, so it's one of the biggest myths that people have about having enough money for the things that they need and the things that they want. So here's how we do it. So every dollar that comes in, savings gets 10%, giving gets 10%, Play gets 10%. Life gets the rest. Okay, write this down. So if I make $100, how much goes in savings? 10, that's right. If I make $1,000, okay, now we're going to put 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, and 700 here. This all adds up to, say, for example, 1,000. So next month, when you get another 1,000, you have another 100 in here. And the next month, another 100, another 100, another 100. Okay, our example, he had 6,000. So let's use his numbers now. Okay, so 6,000, this would be $600. 10% of 6,000 is 600. Sorry, it's a little messy now, isn't it? 600, 600. How much does he have to make sure his bills are? So what we do is we take 6,000. Okay, so we want to know how much is 70% of 6,000. So that's 0.7 times 6,000. So he has to make sure he is spending that much or less every single month for this to be sustainable. Okay, so we're going to look and see how we did with those changes in just a second. But watch this. Say he does this for 10 months just to keep the math easy. How much does he have in savings after 10 months? Shout it out. He has, he does this 10 times. He has 6,000 now in his savings. He's given away 6,000. How much is he allowed to play with? 6,000. Now, he can choose to go to Starbucks. That's the play. He can choose to buy the latest video game. That comes out of play. The idea is if your play bucket is empty, then you have to wait till next month. So it's kind of like a personal allowance to yourself, and that way you're not cutting into this number. Are you seeing this? Okay. What if he saved most of it? Say he only spent like 1,000 over 10 months. What could you do with $5,000? You could go on a trip. Anybody like to travel? Anybody like dogs? You could get a pet. What sorts of things can you do? So most people, what they do is they will blow this on things they do not remember. Things from Amazon, impulse buys at the store. And then this is gone and they don't have it and they're cutting into their life, and that's where their stress comes from. If you do it this way, as soon as this number is gone, then it's gone. So if you love coffee and you want a coffee fund, this is where it comes from. You have to allocate it ahead of time, and once it's gone, it's gone. So you can drink your play if you'd like, or you could save it for something you really want. How many of you would love a horse? Yeah, those things are expensive. This is how you afford it. How many of you would love to learn how to fly an airplane? This is how you afford it. You seen when I said it's not, can I get a giant paycheck every month, right? No, because you'll blow it. The more money you make, the more money we tend to spend. Not everybody, but usually. So we want to learn how to manage what we do have. All right, now you all don't have life expenses right now. Your parents are paying for these. Smile, because this is not going to last forever. Enjoy it. Your buckets today, as soon as we're done with this class, looks like this. So your buckets are going to look like, so you need to get into this habit now. So when you do have more money from an income, because you're all going to be 25 one day, okay? Right now, your buckets are savings, giving, and again, you get to decide who you give it to. Just make sure you give it away, and play. What you're going to do is, even if it's only $1, 25% goes in savings, 25 goes in giving, and what goes in play? That's right, 50%. So this is what you do when you're still living at home. Every dollar you get, whether it's birthday money, something from a lemonade stand, if you're mowing lawns for people, walking dogs, these are the 3 envelopes. You can use coffee cans, you can use paper envelopes, doesn't matter. When you are old enough, this will turn into your first bank account. This gets drained every single year, unless you're saving for something big, and then you can do that. One girl shared that she took her whole family, get this, she saved, I think, for 2.5 years. She took her whole family to Disneyland at her expense. Right? How cool. And the parents were like, we can't afford it. She goes, that's okay, Mom. I can. Right? The parent wrote in because she was so proud of her daughter. And the daughter was like, that's giving. Right? So it's okay if it benefits other people that you're related to. That's fine. She paid for her own part out of play. But the rest of her family came out of giving. All right? And then the rest goes into play. All right, give me a smile if you see the strength of this model here. You seeing this? This is homework number 1. All right, number 2. Let's see how well we did. Do you have your second one? This will take us like no time at all because we've already spent most of the time doing this. We're almost done. Okay, so what you're going to do is the income is the same, 6,000. Savings, it's still the same. He's going to put 600, 600. And then I want you to scratch this out and put play so you remind yourself, okay, that you have a separate account just for play. Exactly. Good. Are we good? 10, 10, and 10. So let's go ahead and put those in colors. I'll try to keep the colors the same. So this was our savings. This was our giving was pink. Okay, here, let me move myself off of here so you can see it. Back this up just a smidge. Now you can see the whole thing? Okay. This is our giving. Okay. So this is save, give. Save, give. Okay, I'm not going to color in play yet because it's the last one. Okay. Rent. Rent used to be this 30%. Now it's 15%. It's half of 1,800. So rent was blue. So now rent, we have a roommate, which is super great because they can help with the cooking. They can help crack us up when we've had a hard day. All of the fun things that happen with roommates that you can't do by yourself. Okay, there we go. And the roommate can share, right? Share things, maybe share tools or some other stuff that you'd like to share, right? So you don't have to do it all by yourself. Okay, and so now this is rent. And rent is way below a quarter of our income, which is what we want. The other thing, somebody said, can we get rid of the student loan? As much as I would say yes, no. So write down student loan. Oh, here. Student loan is still 600. So this is 10%. Rent is now 15%, and it is $900 a month. Phew. Car is $0. You can put a great big smile on your face. Okay. And it actually turned out that shortly after doing this, he started working from home. So he's like, it was really good. I got rid of that car. Otherwise, I was paying for it because parking in San Francisco is expensive. Yeah, he had to pay for his parking spot. Crazy. Living in a city is crazy, especially that city. I can say that because I used to live in San Francisco. Okay, so then what? 0. So now we have, student loan. Student loan was orange. So let's do student loan. Okay, student loan is here. It is 10%. I'm just going to run that right over here. This is student loan. Okay, and 10%. This is loan. How many people are already feeling easier about this calculation? Yeah, so imagine never knowing how to do this. This took us 30 minutes right now. 30 minutes. And how much stress are we feeling less of? Yeah, okay, exactly. The car doesn't have to be 0. Somebody said, I think I'm going to want a car. And that's fine. We just have to make sure that we're not spending and paying too much for a car. Food, okay, so we can get our food down. He said he tried to get it down by eating more at home, and he got one of those reward programs, and so he wound up spending about $600 on food, so we saved about $100 a month, $120. So we're just going to call that it was like $590, so let's just bump it up to $600, so it's easier to talk about. So for him, he eats a lot, so okay, so food, and again, food is going to depend on where you live. Okay, so this one is food. Okay, so food is 10%. He wasn't eating out as much. And that's where your biggest savings is going to come from. Oh, here. It's a little hard to read that. Food. Good. Internet and phone. He didn't see any real savings. He tried to switch to a plan. I think he saved $10. So we're just going to say it's still about 3%. So we're going to say 3% right there is the phone. He said he still likes his Netflix, which is fine. Phone and phone. Okay, just want to make sure we have enough for the stuff that he wants. Okay, did we forget anything? Okay, we still have the fun, right? Let's do the fun. Okay, who's breathing easier? Right? Yeah, look how much he was spending. Okay, so he was putting these away, but he was spending a huge portion, right? A huge portion. So here, you just cover those up. He's spending most of his income on stuff that he kept having to pay over and over and over every month. Now, whew, right? Okay, so let's put in the play. Play was what color? I think it was yellow. So 10% is play. So 1, 2, so play is this. Okay. And let's talk about the play just really quick. Now, is he spending 6,000? I'm sorry, 6,000, sorry. He better not be. 600. Is he spending 600 or is he putting it in a bucket? Where's my buckets? Yeah, he's putting it in a bucket. Okay, so he's putting it in his play bucket. So this number is higher than this number. Are you seeing this? So this was out of his pocket. This he's putting into the play bucket. This is 10%. He doesn't have to spend all of this. So if he wants a coffee one morning, great, comes out of his play. If he wants to save this up after 10 months, he'll have $6,000 in here. And that's fine. So I checked in with him after, I think it was about a year and a half after. And I said, hey, how's it going? And he said, I have a problem. There's too much in my play. I'm like, what do you mean there's too much? He goes, well, it made me so aware of what I was spending. I'm not spending, I'm sorry, not his play. He says there's too much. I didn't know what to do with this. So I didn't have that many, doing this made him more aware of his spending habits. And he says, you know what? This is 10, 20, 30-ish percent. 30% of 6,000 is how much? Look back on your other piece of paper. 30% is how much? About $1,800. He says, in my checking account, $1,800 has been dumped in there every single month. I'm sorry, it wasn't his play, it was his checking account. He says, $1,800 every single month, multiply that by 10 for 10 months. $18,000. He had an excess of $18,000. Can he handle an emergency? He could buy a whole brand new car for that, right? Okay, so he says, what do I do? He says, I feel like the balance is too big. I said, here's what you do. If you don't spend this, it's yours. You get to keep it. And what you do is you take half of it, so half of 18,000, so say it's 20,000, just to make it easy. You take half and you put half in savings and half in play. Now how much does he have in play? 10,000 plus 6,000 is $16,000. What would you do? Write it in the chat right now. What would you do with $16,000? Notice, he has it for a couple of reasons while you're putting this in. He's not spending it all on rent. He decided he didn't really need a car. He could use that to buy a used car and have almost no car payments, right? Or he wouldn't have any car payments if he paid cash, right? So he might be able to afford a car and share it with a roommate. Absolutely. He could put it towards flying lessons. He could buy a horse. Very good. He could get a couple of pets. Absolutely. Whatever it is that you want. That's what you could take your family to Disneyland. You could do that. You could buy, right. Are you seeing how it's not because he had a huge paycheck? His paycheck didn't change. All that changed was how he managed what he had. Give me a big smile if this is making sense. Yeah, okay. Most grown-ups struggle with this if they haven't had this kind of education or this perspective before. So here's what I want you to do. This wraps up our lab. Hang on, you get a story too. What I want you to do is, number one, you are going to start doing this at home. Every single dollar you get, I want you to get 3 envelopes, 3 coffee cans, 3 boxes made out of Legos. I don't care. 3 somethings. Every dollar that comes in, 25, and you write right on there, 25 goes to savings, 25 goes to giving, 50 to play. I remember doing this, and a lady who was, I think, 36 years old, she says, all I have is $1 right now. I said, that's fine, wherever you are. So 25 cents goes in savings, 25 cents goes in giving, 50 cents goes in play. It doesn't matter how much the amount is. If you have $100, you're going to divide it up. Okay, it does not matter how much it is. This is going to get you into the habit of learning how to manage your money so you can sleep at night. This is called sleep and security at night. And at the end of the year, he also has $6,000 in savings in case something happens. What if he gets laid off from a job? He is still going to have to pay rent and his loan. He still is going to be hungry. He needs a way to handle the curveballs in life. And so we need a way to handle that. So this is getting deeper into the financial literacy. But are you seeing how useful this is? If this is the one lesson from math I want you to learn all year, this is it right here. This is the one that's going to make a difference. And we applied fractions and decimals and percents to real life. Okay, your homework. Number 1, you're going to do this with your money from now on, if you choose. If not, that's okay. You are more than, who's going to tell you what to do with your money? Everybody should be pointing to themselves right now. You, only you. It's up to you. You get to choose how you want to handle this stuff, because money is going to be in your future, and how you handle it is in your future. This could be you, or this could be you, and you get to choose. I know which one I'm choosing. Okay, second thing, I want you to take this and share it. I want you to dominate the conversation at the table tonight, politely, and I want you to share what you learned, because it's going to do 2 important things. Number 1, we learn better when we teach it. So I want you to become teachers and educate your parents and educate anybody else who's going to listen to you, okay? Share what you've learned. You're not going to be like really, not like I'm better than you. That's not what we're talking about. You're just going to share the distinctions, like from class. This is what I really learned today, Mom. Check this out. And the second thing is it'll start the conversations that usually don't happen in a lot of families still. When I was growing up, we never talked about money. Talking about money was not allowed in our household. Unfortunately, that trend happens not because it may not be allowed, but because parents, they're busy. They have a lot to think about, and this just may not be on the table, or they may be thinking, yeah, they're only 9, right? You don't need to learn. The more time you spend in the saddle learning about finances, the easier it's going to be when you're on your own. And so when you're talking about it, we're going to do it respectfully, right? We're not just going to say, hey, Mom, I know more than you. You're going to tell them, like, let me show you something, Mom. We looked at real numbers today from a 25-year-old college graduate, and look what I learned. This is what he was doing before, and then after Aurora got a hold of him, this is what he was doing after. And actually, even after that, he got a little bit of a raise, and then we did some recalculations. All right, put it in the chat. What is your favorite thing you learned today? Give me your biggest aha. Go ahead, put it in the chat right now, and I'm going to give you a story. You guys have earned it. You definitely have earned it. Okay, I have another one of these that are fun. Okay, we're going to talk about chainsaws. Okay, so, while you're putting it in here, you like this activity a lot. Yes, so the point is, somebody said not spending money. That's not the point. In fact, did you notice how the play went up? If you never spend money, this is what happens. You have a happiness problem. And people get unhappy when they feel like fun is taken away or they don't feel freedom to do things. What we did is this thing is called a budget. A budget is simply a plan for your money. That's all it is. It's a plan. You can handle things. If you want to save up your play and go on a trip, you've always wanted to go somewhere, you want to take your family on a road trip, or you want to contribute towards something, you want that pony, this is how you get started with it. I told my daughter she's welcome to have a horse as long as she can pay for it. You've never seen a kid work so hard and mow so many lawns and do so many different chores. And not just for me, but for everyone. As long as she has a target, who am I going to say no to her dreams? But I need to make her responsible for what she wants. I can't afford a horse. So anyway, so that's hers. Okay, so you have a happiness problem, right? Oh, that's a really big head. So that's not what we want. We want you to enjoy it and to feel a sense of security. Like you've got a plan in motion. You have sense of security comes from a plan for your money. Okay. We also want you to have options, and options come from that play account. Okay. And we want you to have opportunities and options. And that is not about the size, how much money you bring home every month. It's how you handle the stuff that does come in. Can I give you 2 stories? Can I give you 2? Okay. Both are true. When the first time I learned about this about 25 years ago, there was a man on stage and he was sharing this. And so there were like 5,000 of us in the audience. Somebody raised their hand and said, "Excuse me, sir, what job do you have?" Right? Because he was sharing about how he did this and how he did this for 40 years. And he had just retired, and he showed how he was able to save in his savings as well as saving up in his play. He had over $1 million in each one after doing this for 40 years. Okay, so somebody raised their hand and said, "Excuse me, sir, what job did you have?" And he says, "Oh, I'm a UPS driver." I kid you not, 3 people stood up in their chairs and said, I'm working for UPS. Okay, did they miss the point? Uh-huh. Does a UPS driver strike you as someone who is just earning a ton of money? No, they're just regular, just above minimum wage drivers. They may have a great benefit plan, like health insurance and dental and all that stuff, but he managed what he had so well that he was able to put that aside when 65 years came around. He's like, you know what? He decided he was going to enjoy it, and he had also some in his giving so that he paid for his transportation so he could give talks to people like us and say, hey, here's how I did it. This is my contribution to you. How many people think that's pretty cool? Yeah, so the point isn't to work for the UPS. The point is just to manage well what you do have. It doesn't matter what job you have. You could be a teacher, an educator, right? You could work for university. You could work on airplanes. You could work on cars. Whatever it is that you want to do, just knowing how to manage what you have is the most important thing. All right, lots of people say, so you have an envelope. You have 3 envelopes. What are they again? Savings, starts with a G, giving, and the third one, play. And for you, if you want to change it so it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, you can do that. Somebody asked that, sure. But you want at least 25, 25, and then play can be 50. Yeah, so enjoy that now. It's not always going to be this way. That play is going to go down to 10. Everything's going to go down to 10% so you can pay for life. Good. So you feel like this was a good lesson. Exactly. All right, chainsaws. Okay, so once upon a time, I subscribed to the Family Handyman magazine.